former railway line between Matlock and Buxton was part of the Manchester, Buxton, Matlock and Midlands Junction Railway, and it was built by the Midland Railway in 1863 to link Manchester with London. Parts of this line were closed in 1968, and it's often assumed that this was part of the Beeching Reports and the Beeching Acts, but it was actually the Labour Minister for Transport, Barbara Castle, that authorised this closure. Now, although the track has been lifted between Rowsley and Buxton and is part of the beautiful Monsal Trail, plans to reopen the line are still proposed from time to time, occasionally getting real momentum, and Derbyshire County Council has always pledged to keep the trackbed free of development. Peak Rail, but they've got a heritage railway line between Matlock and Rowsley, then have to replace a bridge over the road between Rowsley and Bakewell, cross over the viaduct going over the River Derwent, that is Rowsley Viaducts, before heading up towards Haddon. Haddon Tunnel is still present and in really good condition, and there's a proposal for a Haddon Halt station before the line would terminate at Bakewell. I personally think this is a good scenario to extend the line to Bakewell and then keep the Monsal Trail as it is between Bakewell heading off towards Buxton. I'm going to be walking the full length of the line from Bakewell heading off in the direction of Buxton. 8.5 miles in length, passing through some beautiful countryside, former railway stations. We've got 6 tunnels to look forward to, and of course some beautiful viaducts along the way. So a little look at Rail Map Online to see where we are. So we've got Matlock all the way down here, and we've got Buxton right up in the top left. Peak Rail operate down towards Dale and Rowsley just here, and then the line disappears, and we're going to pick it up at Bakewell. Now the section I've just suggested would be a really good proposal for reopening as a kind of a compromise between Rowsley, Haddon and Bakewell itself. I'm going to pick up the route from Bakewell, and from Bakewell we'll be passing through Hassop, Great Longstone. We'll then be going up towards the beautiful Monsole Head viaduct and the Headstone tunnel before passing through Cressbrook on towards Dale, both of the Chee Tor tunnels, before finishing off at the end of the line as we head on towards Blackwell Mill, where we'll terminate. But there was 2 stations here, allegedly the shortest station in the UK and the shortest lived station in the UK. And you're joining me on trackbed level. I'm just on the approach to Bakewell station. That closed in 1967. It opened on the 1st of August 1862, 105 years active. And this stretch that I'm on now, this bit has been filled in a little bit, and this is I think it's about 4 miles to Rowsley, that they're hoping to actually reopen this section as far as Bakewell. That would be absolutely fantastic, wouldn't it? So what's happened here, track bed filled in, it dips down just there, look, as we're on the approach to Bakewell station, just under the bridge, because many of you will know the track bed has been filled in to platform level, and you'll see that when I get down under the bridge and out to the station. So beautiful bridge, isn't it? That's Station Road up there going down into the town of Bakewell. On the opposite side I can hear water flowing on this side, so there's obviously a little drainage chute going down there. I mean, look at that intricate stonework there, just for that water coming down. I bet that rages down. Bakewell station was built by the Midland Railway, and this opened on the 1st of August 1862, comprising of 2 platforms. With this being the nearest station to Haddon Hall, it was built in a grand style as the local station for the Duke of Rutland, over whose line the land had passed, and it was designed by Edward Walters of Manchester. The station did in fact escape the Beeching Acts along with the railway line, but was still closed when passenger services ceased on the 6th of March 1967. Trains continued to pass through the station until 1968, when the line was controversially and sadly closed. Of all the railway stations that are so desperately needed to reopen, along with potentially part or all of this railway line, is Bakewell, I believe, because that town just gets so gridlocked and it's just awful, and I think it would be a huge benefit to the area. And you immediately see that stonework again on the opposite side. That's a lovely, lovely bridge. Point you straight down, look, there is the platform edge, the coping stones, the slabs that separated you from the platform, dropping you down to the track bed. Station building on the left hand side, that's occupied by a company in there now, but at least it's repurposed and being used. The opposite side, not so. Nothing going off there, and I think this has been fenced off for a couple of years now, so there must be, I think there's a separation of stone blocks up there. That'll be why, you see that? That'll be why this has been fenced off then, won't it? There is substantial split going on just there. Actually, I say it's occupied. It doesn't look like there's anything happening in there anymore. Could have sworn somebody was using that. So that appears to be empty right now, the old station building. So let's say theoretically the line was reopened, rebuilt back to Rowsley to here. I can't see them using this again. So I'd say something would have to be repurposed just a little way down there. I don't know much about that plan, but I'd love to hear your comments below on what the proposals are or whether it's likely to actually happen. But next up, after leaving Bakewell station, we're going to head on down the line towards Hassop. A look at an old map from the early 1900s, you can see Bakewell station dominating in the area of the map. Station road is going up over the top. If you was to follow the road down, that would take you to the town centre. There was also a signal box, a goods shed, and take a note of those sidings going away from the main line at a diagonal angle pointing straight down towards the road. If you look at that now, completely gone, but you can make out that is exactly where the car park is for Bakewell station when you choose to come along and walk the Monsal Trail by car. I'm personally of the opinion that Bakewell needs its railway station to replace the missing link. You've got Rowsley Viaduct, you've got Haddon Tunnel, and then the track bed is largely intact all the way here. Some kind of stone wall just here, look. Flat tops as well. That's nice. Does continue on some more, look. Big concrete section there, something to do with signalling maybe. It's been put up there, I don't know, you might know, I don't know. It does carry on, look, so I'm going to suggest it's some kind of short retaining wall, and that would have been a drainage channel down there when the railway was here. Probably still does collect water too. So push on. If I see anything of interest, of beauty, of anything locally significant, I'll show it to you. And Hassop station would be next. That one closed a little earlier than Bakewell did. Since I've been doing this channel for 5 years now, I don't know how I've left it so long to do this route. It's always busy, so I've purposely come on a Monday. It is October the 12th, it's October anyway, and also wanted to wait for a little bit of colour and a few leaves on the ground to make it quite autumnal. That looks nice going ahead, doesn't it? Quite a high embankment as well, really high now. When you think it was level only about a quarter of a mile ago, with Bakewell station just down there. It's even higher on the other side, look. Really, really high. I'm going to get the drone up as much as possible, and also we've got plenty of tunnels on this route as well. It's an old derelict farm building through there. Look, it's only got that side facing wall remaining of it, but I'm sure that's got some stories to tell. The A619 is coming up down here. That'll take you between Bakewell and Chatsworth House and other assorted villages. In 1862, Hassop Station opened. 1870, it was renamed to Hassop for Chatsworth, and then in 1906 it was renamed back to Hassop before closing in 1946 to passengers and 1964 completely to goods traffic.
Hassop Station is actually situated around 2 miles from the village of Hassop. It was opened in 1862, comprising of 2 platforms. Much of the station still survives, including the main building and also the platform. If you've ever journeyed here by car and used the car park with the spaces on the right hand side, these were actually sidings for goods traffic, storage, unloading and loading.
And here it is, Hassop Station. I'm on track bed level, look. So completely different to Bakewell Station where we began today. Station building looking rather immaculate up there. The only negativity I'd have to say is the toilets are portaloos and they're not really best kept away from, really, but go if you need to go. But station and the cafe itself is absolutely marvellous. I'm going in for a brew and I'll show you some old photos and talk to you a bit about Hassop Station.
For passengers, the station closed on the 17th of August 1942, but it did carry on for another 22 years until the 5th of October 1964, before it was eventually closed to goods traffic. A look at this old map from the early 1900s, Hassop Station dead in the centre look. You've also got down at the bottom a goods shed. This was situated where some benches now sit and reside, what you can sit on. There's around about half a dozen of them, tables and benches. And these sidings here, what I mentioned previously, that is where the car park is today, and the cycle hire is in between that and the station building. Jumping to the more current Google image, you can see where the sidings were, the car park and the main station building. Down at the bottom here is where the goods shed was, and the route up here heading off in the direction of Great Longstone.
So leaving Hassop Station after a cup of tea, I'm going to go under Hassop Road. Beautiful stone bridge, quite a bit of decor. We've got some history just here, look. I may have already shown you this, but that's a picture dating back to 1910. Look at that, World War I just there. I like this one a lot. I mean, it's after the station's closed, but that appears to be going on the wrong line as well, or is it banking? That's pushing that way, isn't it? That's a banker, I'd say, because the train crew are facing forwards. Look, that's a lovely bridge. They all seem to be along here so far. Really, really nice, isn't it, that? Great Longstone Station is next, and there's remains of that one too. So we'll look forward to seeing that. If I turn you around, you might make out we're on quite an incline as well. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. That's a lovely cottage over there. That's so, so nice. Got the fuel fire going as well, and the land around it.
absolutely looks like the foundations to a signal box of some sort, doesn't it? It really, really does. Right next to the road, just down there. And ahead it looks like there is a occupation bridge, farm access, just in front. So yeah, you should have seen a bit of drone footage. It looks like it's all grassed off on top, doesn't it? So farm access, transferring livestock between fields on both sides of the track bed. It's had some reinforcements of blue brick at some point, look, just there and there too. And the same on the other side. Very, very narrow. Look at that stonework there. That's what I love. A different kind of stone, again, above the blue brick arch as well, look. We're not far off the Thornbridge estate now. That's got Thornbridge Hall on it, and you can book to do tours on that. I've not done it, but apparently it's really rather good. Also, you've got the Quacker's Calf. I have been there a couple of times before. I think I'm going to pop up there again now. I do highly recommend the Quacker's Cafe. If you've got children, nice little play area for them to go on as well. Another bridge down there, Longreave Lane down there between Hassop, Ashford and Barlow, and the A6020 is down there. Very nice bit of stonework on both sides. Quite a long drop down, isn't it? Look at that. That's probably the highest I've seen the railway embankment. I expect it to be the same on the other side. It is a drop down, it's not quite as high. You can just see the road there, look. Little pile of ballast just there, look. And around the tree. Probably the first I've seen. Very, very friendly people so far today. I've passed. It's not that busy on a Monday. That was the intention, to come on a weekday in early winter, but everyone spoke. Been very friendly and polite so far today, and I love that because I like to speak to people. Wow, lots more ballast here, look. Quite a good 10-12 feet. And right after that ballast, look, we've got the remains of a ballast bin. It's got one section missing at the back, look. But it's fabulous that these have been left here along this route. Pigs roaming around down there and some sties. Can't see them though, can you? There's a few down there. And not long after I said about people being polite and friendly, I've just had a message from a lady called Val. Just said, I've just passed you on the Monsal Trail this morning. If you ever see me, stay and say hello. Another ballast bin just there, look. So two in quite close proximity. We've got a bridge coming up. Thornbridge Estate is up there, so if you fancy a brew or a bit of a break, they do snacks as well. Cake, yes. Quacker's Cafe. Let's go and take a quick look. You know what, this is just delightful. I was tempted too easily. Cup of tea, Bakewell slice, but it really is nice. I've been here more than twice. I'll stop with the poetry now, but it's beautiful. So that's what it looks like on the bridge, just leaving Thornbridge and Quackers behind. Look at this stone pillar, and then there's a iron one next to it. I'm going back down to the track bed, and I shall see you down there. Now I could up to Great Longstone station with two platforms. They're both still here, and it opened in 1863 and closed to regular passenger traffic 1962. Final closure came just 5 years later to all traffic.
Great Longstone station originally opened on the 1st of June 1863 as Longstone. It took until the 1st of October 1913 to be renamed to Great Longstone for Ashford, and the 10th of September 1962 the railway station was closed to regular passenger services. Official closure then came on the 6th of March 1967 as one train a day in each direction continued to stop to allow
local resident Mrs. Boardman to travel to work. After final closure in 1967, trains did continue to pass through the station until 1968, again when the line was closed.
So look at this, so we're going underneath Longstone Lane. Well, Longstone Lane is that side. Look at the old station building over there. It's actually Station Road on the other side. And I love these steps. Look at this. So it's the old station access steps going up. Hopefully I don't surprise someone getting to the top. But that's nice. You don't get that very often now, do you? I'm assuming there probably is a ramp down as well. Yeah, there we go, look. So that's a nice bridge, isn't it? Steps back down and a view across the top. Station building, look, and that fabulous one behind as well, like a castle. So leaving Great Longstone behind, we now head towards the first walkable tunnel on this route. There was 2,486 yards worth of tunnel on this route. 8 tunnels, and we're going to get to pass through most of them today. Headstone Tunnel bursts out onto Headstone Viaduct. I'm looking forward to that. We're going to go through the 533 yard long Headstone Tunnel, the longest one on the route, and then obviously the longest one that we can walk through. And going through there, we're then going to take a look at the magnificent Headstone Viaduct. The railway bursts out of the tunnel over a 300 foot long beauty. It's around about 70 foot high at the highest point above the River Wye. So no further ado, I'm going to turn you around, and down here we've got Headstone Tunnel. So the rock face, look at it, and there are little sections which have been supported by brick. There's 2 different kinds of brick there, look. I think they've had to repair the original support with an additional structural support underneath that one. Turn you around, there's some really tall ones, look. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. They've been there some time, haven't they? Quite a bit of water dripping off them too. So those stone pillars are all the way up, look, holding back that natural stone cutting, and on the other side as well, look. But this is lovely, isn't it? You can't quite see the sign, or you can. Headstone Tunnel just above that safety mesh and structure. Let's get ourselves in this 533 foot beauty. I mean, it is sheer beauty and amazing engineering, isn't it, this? It is lit up, as you can see. I have been through here at night time before. That was quite something else.
I'm taking the odd moment to speak to you when there's nobody about because the reverberations are rather loud. Quite a bit of repair work every now and again. Lots of refuges too, as you would expect. It's really, really brilliant that this is here for us, for horse riders, walkers, everybody that wants to come along, and even cyclists too. And the construction of this tunnel would have been by the means of shafts coming down from the surface down to the level of the tunnel, with navvies going through and digging and meeting up where these numerous little shafts were dotted along the route. And there'd probably be something known as sighting towers on top as well, where they could use them to check if it was going in a straight line. And to give you an idea of what this operation was like, here's an image from Forgotten Relics. You can see the land above the top, you can see those brown lines going down. They're the shafts which are built above ground level, going down, and then little sections of tunnels are then dug out and all met together. Typically, this is one from Monsole Tunnel near Merthyr Tydfil in South Wales. Generally, they can be called pepper pots or the top of the shafts, and down below they'd look like this. The same tunnel, Morlaix in South Wales. There's the shaft beaming light down onto the track bed. I also mentioned the sighting towers often used in the construction of tunnels. There's a really good example. This is not for a railway tunnel, this is in fact the 7-mile long Rivlin tunnel. Now this is a water tunnel which feeds the Rivlin reservoirs near Sheffield, coming from Ladybower Reservoir in the Peak District. So there's a couple of examples. You can see Ladybower just there, and typically engineers or sighters would stand on top of these and check that they were going in a straight line by looking for another one further up the valley. Plenty of ballast on the ground as well, look. It really is great how they've kept that there. It's on both sides. I'm assuming that's some kind of drainage that goes through on that concrete section on this side. And already we're almost out the other end. That seemed really, really quick. And here we are at the other end, Headstone Tunnel. Absolutely brilliant, wasn't it? We've got more of those to look forward to in this video series, but that is 533 yards long. It's only been open to the public for a decade or so, hasn't it? Next up, we've got the magnificent 300 foot long, 70 foot high Headstone Viaduct. Now the viaduct's name seems to be different depending on who you speak to. I've called it a number of these names in previous videos and even in this one. Headstone Viaduct, Monsole Head Viaduct, maybe even Monsal Dale Viaduct. A gentleman called John Ruskin thought it was a hideous blot on the landscape and wrote these words: "There was a rocky valley between Buxton and Bakewell once upon a time, divine as the Vale of Temp. You enterprised a railroad through the valley, you blasted its rocks away, heaped thousands of tons of shale into its lovely stream. The valley is gone, and the gods with it, and now every fall in Buxton can be in Bakewell in half an hour, and every fall in Bakewell at Buxton, which you think a lucrative process of exchange, you fools everywhere." This glorious viaduct has 5 arches, each with a 55-foot span. Now they come as quite negative words for something that many of us would now like to see used again, or many of us that miss what this was originally was, although we do enjoy it for what it is now. An overall length of 300 feet, and the track itself sat 74 feet above the River Wye, and in 1970 a Grade 2 listing was placed on the viaduct, and since 1980 the Monsal Trail footpath has been accommodated on the deck.
So we've got Monsole Head all the way up there, we've got the river passing below us. That's Monsal Dale in that direction, and as you can see it is a extremely long way down, isn't it? I recently watched an episode of Mortimer and Whitehouse Gone Fishing, and there's an episode where they do fish in the River Wye down below, and occasionally you get flirting shots of this viaduct. So that was really nice seeing that, and it sort of gave me the inspiration to think, yeah, I need to come and do this. That's beautiful, isn't it? Some gorgeous, gorgeous colours, isn't there? You know what, it would have been really, really hard work constructing this, but I'm sure some of the navvies and the designers and engineers stood here in amazement, in awe of the beauty that surrounded them on their very own working location. Stood at the far end, look, you could just make out the tunnel portal and the curve of the viaduct. It is a blue brick on both sides with steel bars. Underneath, well, I'm going to pop down the side and see if we can have a little look at that now. It's getting right down to the bottom now, not far from the river bank. Kind of came down a different path so I could fly the drone around away from everybody and any potential animals that might be down here. It's lovely, isn't it?
There's often a lot of talk about reopening this railway line, at least in part, and one of the ideas that often crops up is shared usage, half of it for the railway line and half of it as a shared path. And these photographs provide us with a really good example of how that might look. Track on one side and ballast on the other side. So if you ever wanted to imagine how that might shape up, if that is a situation that unfolds in the future, then this is it.
I'll tell you what, it's not often that something gets built on an industrial scale, something as huge and colossal as this behind me, that actually naturally complements the scenery and the countryside that it sits in. It adds to it. You know, you get all manner of roads and factories and industrial places which, you know, they're a bit of a blotch on the landscape. But this, absolutely not. It's an absolute credit and huge, beautiful benefit to the area. It's stunning, isn't it? But look at it, that's gigantual. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 arches, absolutely humongous. Some kind of tensioning rods you might be able to make out in 1, 2, maybe the third one. Not in the first one though, quite possibly not in the 5th one along. This is lovely, isn't it? I don't believe I've actually been down below here before. It's great. It's worth the climb down, and it's going to be annoying climbing back up, but it is worth the climb down to come and, you know, just see this. It's pretty cool to be able to stand underneath it as well. It looks very, very narrow, doesn't it, when you stood below it? Like you wouldn't think it was the width of 2 standard gauge railway tracks and their trains, and the sides as well. It's a bit of a echo reverberation as well. The water's looking really, really nice, isn't it? It just complements it. Honestly, it's like if you designed some countryside with something huge like this, then this would be the perfect design and outcome, wouldn't it? Right, time to get myself back up top
do a little bit of work, make myself up there, and that's where I shall see you next. It's just fantastic, isn't it? You just can't get enough. Coming up to Monsal Dale station right at the very beginning. That opened in 1866 and it was closed by 1959 to regular traffic, completely gone by 1961. It consisted of 2 platforms, and today I'm going to go as far as Miller's Dale, the viaducts and a station there, quite a big station, and through 2 tunnels, Cressbrook and Litton. So quite a bit to look forward to in this one. If you've seen the previous 2 videos, thank you for watching. Let's go and enjoy part 3. And straight away we've got an old workman's hut, like a plate layer's hut, engineering hut, whatever you want to call them, made of red brick, concrete base. Nice big window for them there, wasn't it? A little bit muddy, and what looks like the usual bomb-proof roof. That's alright, isn't it? And straight out the other side, the station would have been a little way further down. But this is probably one of the most photographed line side huts that you'll ever see. I've seen no end of photographs of that, and never gets boring, does it? Straight after that we've got a little bridge, some sort of track access down there, blue brick top, and over the other side the river is right down there, some lovely cottages and also a mill.
Monsal Dale railway station served the villages of Upperdale and Cressbrook too. It opened in 1866 and it had 2 platforms, one of them perched precariously quite on the top of a steep drop down to the village. It closed to regular passenger services on the 10th of August 1959 and completely to goods traffic on the 3rd of April 1961. Now thankfully to photographers, back when the line was open, we've got these beautiful images to look at. Take note of the platform on the right, quite high above the valley. There's a signal box just beyond that, look. And if we change to this picture, we've got the signal box on the left, showing it in a completely different direction, and you've got the siding on the right hand side as a head shunt too. This image taken from the signal box, look, you've got the little hut in front, looking back towards the viaduct and also Headstone tunnel, and zoomed in a little way, probably from the signal box as well, you can almost make out maybe that is the station master on the centre of that platform.
So that was Monsal Dale station. Next up is Cressbrook tunnel, 471 yards. I think it's the 3rd longest one on this route, again constructed using shafts, I believe, which allowed the navvies, the workmen and engineers to tunnel through in a straight line in sections, and also probably sighting towers on top as well. That's not far down here. Let's go and find it. So that over there, that is Cressbrook Mill, and it was originally built by Richard Arkwright in 1779. So here it is, Cressbrook Tunnel. It looks pretty quiet at the moment. There don't appear to be anybody behind me either, so that's nice. It's been relatively busy at times today. At the top, it's still got its date stone. Can I zoom you in enough? There you go, look, 1883 on that one. and the tunnel name above it. Numerous refuges, as you would expect, all the way through on both sides. A nice mixture of stone and brick repairs, but very black too, isn't it, from the days of steam. And as per Headstone Tunnel, it is beautifully lit. Still got the ballast down on either side, and a blue brick roof, upper section of the wall, and also the stonework. It's exactly the same layout in this one as the previous one at Monsole Head, Headstone Tunnel. Still got the ballast remains on either side. You got that concrete, what must be a drainage channel of sorts going through, and there it is. Beautiful. You'd have burst out this tunnel as train crew, coming out for some fresh air. You could briefly admire the views, looking down into the valley below, and they really are stunning. Look at that, just all changing colour. Straight down there, you were going back into the dark and the gloom, because of course there was no lighting in there back when the railway was open. Not fortunate enough to have the strip lighting above that we do today. Now look at this old map from around about 100 or so years ago. It shows us the trajectory of the line and how similar both tunnels actually are. So we've got the route coming away from Monsal Dale station going into Cressbrook tunnel. It bursts out into an opening immediately in the middle of this map and then goes straight into Litton tunnel. Pretty much the same length and the same shape, isn't it, with that curve. And then it proceeds to pop out at the other end and heads towards Millersdale station. And straight into the darkness we're going to go. We're going to recreate what it must have looked like for the passengers and the train crew going in. Although for us it will be a lot lighter and a lot cleaner too. But there it is, look. Can't see any indication of a date stone on this one as per Cressbrook. But still just as daunting all the same, isn't it? So slight incline to this one going up, as I may have already mentioned. Got a nice tall stone section there where the previous tunnels kind of cut off halfway and turned into blue brick before hitting the roof. It's the same on the other side, look. You just make that out. Now surprisingly it is quite low light in these tunnels, even though we've got the strip lights all the way through it, but I've not brought any torches with me because of the amount of cyclists and walkers coming through here. Just wouldn't be fair on them to dazzle them. But I've got some good photographs taken at night and during the day to hopefully show it off. Dotted with all the refuges that you would expect on both sides. Plenty of ballast on the ground either side. Another refuge there, look. And concrete sections. As we approach the portal, you can see it's darker, look. See where the stone is just there on the right, but this is blue brick just there, look. It's clearly been patched up, hasn't it? The opposite side is the same. Lots of blue brick going along there to cover up what must have been some kind of damage and erosion that needed to be put right before it opens to the public. This one fascinates me. Must have been some kind of storeroom, maybe they kept explosives in it or tools. Shine the light in, you can see it goes quite deep and then it just stops abruptly, probably about 5 or 6 meters. So that's very, very unique. I think it's the only one like this on the entire tunnel network along here. There we are at the other end of Litton Tunnel. Both tunnels on this video now pass through on towards Millersdale. Nice occupation bridge, isn't it? Red brick supporting the stone, and some repairs gone off there, hasn't there, over time. Out on the other side, pretty much the same blue brick with red patching it up and some stonework at the foundations. Lovely. Rather deep cutting, and we appear to have come to some kind of summit because the track bed looks like it's dropping down now. And on the other side, back to that bridge we just passed under, it appears to be doing the same. Not seen anyone now for quite a while. I must have walked probably about a half a mile since leaving Litton Tunnel. And we're back on an incline as well. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but we're taking a curve to the right, which it has seemed like we've been going left for quite some time, including those 2 tunnels. But Millersdale Station is up here, and it's got its 2 viaducts, hasn't it? And one of them was built after the original one, because the traffic on the line just got a lot busier than they ever expected it to. It's crazy, isn't it, to think that then it was deemed to have been no longer used and required. I do love this bridge by Litton Mill. Litton Mill is just down there over the other side. It's these stone steps, look at them. Kind of curving the way around before straightening up at the top. Let's climb a few of them and show you what it's like up top. Oh gosh, they're quite steep. There we go, look. A little bit more. This bridge looks extremely narrow, to be honest. Oh yeah, so it's just grassed over on the top, look. And that's back to Hassop and Bakewell and towards Millersdale and Chee Tor over there. This is rather quaint, isn't it? Carefully get back down. Some trees being sawn over there, so that's what you're picking up. Some of the stone cuttings along this route are fantastic. I mean, you've got to realise that this stone was probably around about 300 million years ago that it was formed. And there's all manner of different types of stone and rock in there, but the majority of it will be limestone. It's beautiful, isn't it? Absolutely stunning. And you just got to appreciate the work that the navvies would have had to have gone through to actually blast their way and cut their way through them. Just coming away from the track bed for a moment, just have a look over here because I can see that stone rock face over there. That's quite a drop down, isn't it? See that van down there and the car that's parked up, like miniature. There's some rock climbing going off up there as well because the orange rope's going up. Now we're in quite a deep cutting going forward. I've literally just shown you that drop down. See just there where the leaves are on the ground. That's there. All of a sudden, boom, surrounded by rock faces on both sides. And a quarter of a mile or so later, we're coming out of that cutting, look. It's lowering down on both sides, and it looks like we're starting to come out of that cutting now. The sides are lowering down, look. It's going to flatten out just down there somewhere. Not far from Millersdale Station now and the viaducts that accompany it. That was Millersdale Quarry on my left. and you can walk through it and around it. I don't know if there's anything in there worth looking at, but I saw some old stone steps, so maybe worth a nosy at a future date. Yeah, there's some kind of stone structure there, look through the trees. Right, we're on the approach to both of the viaducts now, and looks like there's some maintenance work being done on this one. But there's the stone walls, look, and the abutments. Still standing well, isn't it, after all this time?
A quick look at the old maps again, and you can see the full layout of the viaducts and the station. The viaducts crossing over the river and the road on the right hand side. The station dominating in the area on the left. There was also a quarry on the top left hand side there, look, and numerous sidings scattered at both ends of the station site. If we zoom in a little bit though, you can see this map is dated before the second viaduct was constructed. There's just a double track going through there, look, and the second one is missing. The original and first viaduct of the pair was opened in 1863. It comprised two parts, one being a 30-foot masonry arches at its western end, and the longer section to the east involved wrought iron arches of 90 feet. And there are in fact 3 of these also, with rock-faced limestone and gritstone dressings being used for the abutments and the piers too. The second viaduct that opened in August 1905, which goes to show the maps we were looking at earlier, predates that, probably from the very beginning of the century, and this was to provide additional capacity, and it formed part of a 683-yard loop used by traffic on the fast lines.
I mean, that is quite scary looking down. It really is a long way, isn't it? It's rather too noisy to talk to you about it because they're doing some kind of maintenance. You can see all the orange through there, and that is for the maintenance that's going on. They're doing something underneath and on top. I don't know if you can quite pick it out, but they were all singing and banging as workmen do. That's crazy, isn't it? I love that. And then you get to the, I think there's 4 arches at the far end. And then on this side, but if we go and have a look over here, look, oh, that is really, makes my legs wobble a little bit. That's a long way down. That's stunning, isn't it?
Surprisingly though, it is the older of the two, built between 1862 and 1863, that the Monsal Trail now passes over. However, the other one is also being looked after, and this Grade 2 listed bridge at the time of my walking across and along this route is currently undergoing a major program of maintenance to ensure its safety for many years to come. Millersdale Station opened in 1863 and it closed in 1967, and the site is now used as a car park and cafe for which the trackbed ran through. It served as an important junction where passengers for Buxton joined or left the trains between London St Pancras and Manchester London Road, and it was originally to be called Blackwell Mill but was named Millersdale instead. It became Millersdale for Tideswell from 1889. But for such a rural location, it was an unusually large station. It was one of the largest stations on the line and was one of the few stations in England to have a post office on the platform.
So stood right in the centre of the island platform. We've got the goods shed over there, look, we've got the station building over there, cafe and toilet blocks there, 1, 2 platforms. Coming over this side, we'd have the other running line going towards Buxton, back towards Bakewell. And again, another platform look. Beautiful, isn't it? Quite a drop down there, and the two viaducts are back over there. I'm trying not to get too close to all this because there's a lot of workmen about, but you can see it. It's lovely. You can see those platforms just there. That is all closed off to the public at the moment at the time of my visit. So what we'll do, I'll jump some photographs of the station, talk to you about it, and hopefully some more archive footage too.
Originally there was 3 platforms, then in 1905 that was up to 5, at the same time that the second viaduct was opened. It was renamed back to Milledgedale in June 1965, but the station closed less than 2 years later on the 6th of March 1967. Trains did continue to pass through the station though, on direct express trains until 1968.
And here we are at platform end. Look, this is the central island platform. I've just come off that track bed and just looped around. It is fenced off still, look, but I will walk onto this section because the platform area, it's saying footway closed. I've noticed recently that they're called footways instead of footpaths. I've noticed that on high streets as well. So that's changed for some reason, hasn't it? Always known them as footpaths myself. But nice shot of the platforms there. Look, all that stonework and coping stones on top. I love that bit of copper effect down there as well. It's nice, isn't it? Slightly different colours on the other side, but same construction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 layers including the coping stone. This line just keeps on giving. We've got East Buxton Viaduct, smaller than the previous ones on the route, and also the old line works are right there as well. Chee Tor 1, Chee Tor 2 tunnel, followed by a third Russia Cutters tunnel. And then we get to Milledgedale Junction, where this route that you can walk on comes to an end, but there was still 2 stations down there, and one of them could possibly be the shortest lived railway station in the UK. Now, I'm going to turn you around immediately, look, and it looks like we've got some kind of water tank. Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it? It's got the iron top to it. Whatever the top, that's nice, isn't it? I don't think I've seen that before when I've come down here. And then there's a few gubbins I can see on the inside, like pipe work. So that's really nice, isn't it? So that must have been put there for the railway, for the steam locomotives. Yeah, so straight away we've got something good. It's got a ladder on the other side, look, and an additional piece just there. It looks like another iron top to that as well. I'm surprised that ladder's still there. I'd probably have a climb up if that didn't look so sketchy. Probably going up would be alright, but getting down could be a little bit iffy. I don't think we're going to see much if we do. Now immediately after that, I believe we've got some lime kilns, so I'm going to deviate away from the track bed and have a little look up here. This is probably where the lime was quarried from. Just sat abandoned, now a nature reserve. Almost at the top. Oh, so a little bit out of breath. Now then, let's look at the view first. Very high up, look. That's something else again. Oh wow, look over here. Let's just take that in. So I'm not really an expert on this kind of stuff, but I've got to assume, looking at these rails just here, and there are some more circling around this one that's been filled in. The little tipplers, the little trucks would have come in, circled around, and they'd have been tipped and dropped down, because this is all filled in. This would have been a drop. correct me if I'm wrong. That's great, isn't it? Then the track does come to an abrupt end, but it's quite a nice circular system. You can imagine the ironmongers bending that around, and more rails look for the previous one that I showed you first. It's got like a red brick construction going down. I'm going to take you now to have a look down below where we've just been stood above. So I'd not actually seen this, but there's those tracks, look, coming in and twirling around the hole with a worker tipping the wagons in. So I'm pleased I was right about that, because that was basically, I was just the assumption I was gathering, because I hadn't really looked into that kind of thing before. 1880 this was in operation from through to 1944, and we can have a little nosy up here. Look, it reminds me of Caldell Lime Works. I visited there in 2020. That's not far from here, just on the edge of Buxton. Now then, yeah, we can see inside all right, can't we? It's not perfect, but you get a rough idea of what things look like. That's nice. You can see there, look, where there's a doorway completely blocked off. Also got some riveted remains on the ground, look, 1, 2 and a third one sticking out the ground, look. So straight after East Buxton Line Works, we've got East Buxton Viaduct. It's only a little one, but it goes over the river, and straight after that we'll have the first of the 2 Chee Tor tunnels. But let's have a look, because we can go above and below this one. I think there's a pathway down the side. There we go, that's nice, isn't it? Obscured by the trees, but that's still fine. Look how far down the river is down there. I've still never done the stepping stones that goes along this valley where you basically walk through the river. Do need to come back. I've got an idea of someone I can trick into doing that with me as well. But this is beautiful, isn't it? I think it's bigger than I remember, to be honest. Long time since I've been down here. It's very high up, isn't it? Triple arch. Absolutely stunning. Let's go further down still. I'd rather see it all while I'm here and walk down to the river. Bit of a tricky area to fly the drone. If you've seen the previous videos before this one, I've had it up quite a bit, but it's very much in a valley around here and lots of trees, and there's not really much to see, just like I can't really fly it around here because you wouldn't see it. That's beautiful, isn't it? That's what it looks like over the edge, look. I was stood just there. You can abseil over the edge of here as well. It's a very long way down, isn't it? Let's have a poke down the other side. Much lower safety fencing on this one, but it's still adequate. That's lovely, isn't it, down there? First Chee Tor tunnel is literally just out of sight around that bend. This is 401 yards in length. The second one, its sister, a lot smaller, at just 91 yards. Probably won't need to worry about lighting for the second one, but I've got some photos of this one that I've previously done on a visit, and I'll accompany that with what I'm going to do today. Beautiful entrance, this one again, isn't it? Pretty much like the others. No date stone on this one again that I can see, but Chee Tor's sign at the very top. Completely blue brick built with a couple of stone pillars either side. I'm just in the mouth of the tunnel now. I think it's time to walk through these 401 yards. So into the first Chee Tor tunnel. Some lovely colours in here. Notice it's rock. It's very, very wet, but it does turn into a full blue brick just there, and I think that's happening all the way through. There's a refuge just there, and beyond that it is blue. But as the portal, you can see how far it is. Stone, brick, and then brick over the top too. At the midpoint it has turned into stone from bottom to top. Exactly the same on this side. As soon as you come out of Chee Tor, you meet Chee Tor number 2, 91 yards, over a bit of a gouge in the ground. These cable carriers as well, zipping all the way along. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think there's one missing, 10. Looks like there's about 2 or 3 more on the stone wall on the approach to the tunnel. Yeah, there are in fact 4 of them on the wall. 1, 2 there. There's number 3. Sorry, that was a bit fast. And number 4 is just there. So we've got ballast down on the left hand side and refuges all the way along. It's getting quite dark now, so I'm going to change to another camera. There we go, we can see a bit more now. So not very long, pretty much past halfway now. Look, if I turn around, you can see the other tunnel portal, look, in the haze of the sunshine, and we're pretty much, well, we're out the other end, look. And there we go, both of the Chee Tor tunnels done and dusted. But there's one more tunnel, Russia Cutting Tunnel. I like the name of that one, it sounds quite Wild West, doesn't it? Let's go and find it, not far down here. So that's really nice, isn't it? This is the final tunnel on our journey along this line. At the other end, it's been fantastic, hasn't it? And I'm sure a lot of you have enjoyed walking or cycling this in the past, just as I've enjoyed doing it today. Now, what I did notice of interest at Chee Tor 2, there was no strip lighting inside, but that one is very, very short. Russia Cutting Tunnel also has no lighting, so be extra wary when you go through. It is another short one, but again, it is rather dark in there. Now I can walk around the edge, look, and we can see the magnificent way that this tunnel, it had to be supported in the hillside. Look at this. That's extraordinary, isn't it? Look at the size of them. The tunnel going through. You've got to imagine that some of this was put in to stop anything falling onto the track, as well as going through the hillside just beyond. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like there's 6 diagonal support stone sections there. As I can see out both ends of this one, I have actually lit the torch up a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. I'm at the Blackwell mill end, and the Chee Tor tunnels are just around that corner. But you can really appreciate it, can't you? There's a nice little curve going to the left. I'm not going to keep this on long just in case a cyclist does appear. But if I take the torch away, you can see it did make a difference, didn't it? Blackwell Mill Halt is not far down here. We've also got a nice viaduct to look at on the branch that went off towards the quarries. But I'm going to save that till the very end, so we'll get to the end where the 2 stations were, and then I'll come back and finish off at that viaduct. Blackwell Mill Halt, that closed in 1966. Well, that was when its last service apparently was. Officially closed in 1967. It was even featured in some kind of film in 1938. And it was reputedly the shortest passenger station in the UK. It was only suitable for a single carriage. And this is Dale Junction. That's headed up to where some quarries are. And the line is still actively used today for quarry and stone workings. Like some kind of old signalling structure just there, doesn't it? There's another fine example of where stonework has been slotted in, built into the rock face. Look how high that is on the opposite side. It's exactly the same, but there's no stone blocks in there. It's natural rock face. Look, I'll turn you around. There's a nice little, I think it's an occupation bridge between farmers' fields, and then a little way down there would be where the 2 stations once resided. And just beyond that bridge we've just passed under, we get this. This is end of the Monsal Trail, the footpath. Look at the river down there. Stunning. We're going to go down there at some point and we'll go underneath this. So, keep out, no access. We're going back onto Network Rail land. Buxton Junction is just down there, but before that there was Blackwell Mill Station. Apparently the shortest platform at one time in the UK. On the opposite side, I'd say probably about 50-60 metres over there, is the active line, and that goes off towards the quarries. It goes through a tunnel. But also had a station, also believed to be the shortest lived railway station. Well, imagine that, the shortest platform and the shortest lifespan.
Blackwell Mill Halt opened on the 1st of November 1874 and it closed to passengers on the 6th of March 1967. It was situated within a triangle of Midland Railway lines that allowed trains from Buxton Midland to travel east towards Millersdale or north towards Manchester Central, and trains from Millersdale to travel west towards Buxton or towards Manchester Central. And the northern point of this triangle was called Peak Forest Junction and the western point was called Buxton Junction. And as we've already visited, the eastern point was called Millersdale Junction. The Midland Railway provided cottages for its employees, and as the location was isolated, they also provided this halt so that their employees and their families could more easily travel to and from their homes. The halt consisted of two very short stone-built platforms, and these were staggered. No shelter was provided, but a plate-layers hut located at the west end of the westbound platform. I think this was probably used by passengers and railway employees too. It is often stated that this is the smallest station in England, but it is not true. There are a number of sleeper-built halts around the country that are just slightly smaller.
That's lovely, isn't it? Nice three-arch bridge or viaduct. Stunning, going over the river. Nice weir behind us, and the mills were just down there. Chee Tor Halt, that was just over there. Shortest lifespan of a railway station in the UK. Let's see if we can find some old photographs of it and talk a little bit about it.
And Chee Tor Halt was a timber-built railway halt, and it was located on the Peak Forest Junction to Buxton Junction spur of the Midland Rail's triangle of Blackwell Mill. It opened on the 5th of July 1987 and was summer Sundays only passenger services that were promoted by Peak Rail that ran between Edale Station and Chee Tor, but it closed on the 13th of September 1987 and it was primarily used by ramblers on the nearby Monsal Trail. The halt itself was later removed and it was installed on the Peak Rail Heritage Line and is now the Riverside Station at Matlock.
And that is as far as I'm gonna go. So, Buxton Junction just up there, and then that is the active main line on towards Buxton. So I'm gonna leave you here and jump over to its bigger brother just outside of Russia Cutting Tunnel. That magnificent viaduct that we went past earlier. Looks a beauty, perfect place to finish off today. Still ballast on the ground, and still some fantastic views with the river down there as well. The other old track bed is just there. You can walk that for a few hundred yards or so. And this is what it looks like on the other side. So to begin with, I've actually come across the viaduct and I've come to what is effectively, again, the end of the line. There is a nice little bridge here. Look, we've still got original ballast down. There's the other side of it. I think we can actually get down below, so I'll be giving that a go. Yeah, there's a footpath down there, look, so I will pop down there at some point. But again, this is where the line went off again, and it formed that huge triangle. Blackwell Mill Station a little way down there, Chee Dale Station on the other curve around just over there. Both lines then met together. There was Peak Forest Junction Tunnel. There was also a line works called Central Line Works just to the right. That had rail access too, and a couple of sidings going into it. So I'm going to traverse myself back over here, and it looks like there's a little path going down below this bridge. Just got to mention also, look at the size of that. That's colossal, isn't it, that rock face up there? Two jagged edges punching out just there. That one's a little bit lower just there, but doing the same before it bows down towards where the stations were. Same with the rock face there. More of a hilly side, this side with a bit of a rock face there. But let's do what I said I was going to do and attempt to pop down here. Some nice stone steps. And carefully... Oh, this is a bit sketchy, isn't it? But it looks like it is an official way up. Down we go. That's nice, isn't it? That's rather smart. Nice stonework, blue brick, we've just seen, haven't we? And then blue brick, abutments. Let's pass through the other side. This would have been put in at a later date, wouldn't it, this side? If I go through, hopefully I'm not going to surprise anybody around the corner. No, we're looking good. You can see it from the other side. So it's a nice little bonus, isn't it? This little curve, this spur off the main line. I really do hope you've enjoyed this series along the Monsal Trail, the former Midland Railway between Matlock and Buxton, beginning at Bakewell through to just shy of Buxton at Blackwell Mill. Please like, subscribe, comment below. Any more suggestions, bang them down below. Thank you very much. Take care, bye bye.